Yeah, we got a producer. So, hey guys, welcome back to an all new episode of Comics Unchained. I'm Sergio Sanchez, and joining me as always is Chris
Yeah.
Eaton,
Howdy.
and we're here to tell you if what comic books came out this week. My editor's sitting there laughing at me
You
to
put it
see
that
what
way.
I did point that way, didn't
Yeah.
I? And
Yeah.
I'm still adjusting to our camera locations here because, um, I'm getting oh god, I've gone cross-eyed.
Mm.
So yes. So
So
let
what
me
we
go
got in
ahead and
store
jump
for
in.
today, Sergio?
So we're gonna tell you what's worth spending your hard-earned money on to this week's comic books, and I've got a nice little starter that I've been reading since it dropped, and that of course is the Predator series that came out. And you'll see me over here. Started on August 10th. We are currently in the 5th issue of it, so I'm going to be talking about kind of the series roughly in a whole. I'll give you a bit of a breakdown, but let me get again back to my notes. Ed Brisson, he's known for doing Iron Fist and Ghost Rider. Kev Walker, who did Doctor Strange and Doctor Aphra. Did I say that right? For the Star
Yes.
Wars. So he's doing those. He's doing the artwork. The aforementioned is doing the writing. Very solid story. And here's what I liked about it. Okay, so it's based on a girl who is on a planet. This is set into the future. Pretty much her family gets taken out. They're terraformers, so they go to different planets, terraforming planets. They get taken out by a predator. She fights back against the predator. She survives somehow, taking off on the ship for the company. Everything is just there. But here's one of the things. Do you remember Machiko, Chris?
Yeah, of course I do.
So it's got those
She
vibes, buddy.
she earned the Predator's trust and became part of the tribe.
Right. It's got those vibes, but not so much as she becomes a predator. But she's like, okay, I kill a predator, I take its gear, I wear its gear, and I hunt the predator.
I'm
So,
down. I'm
oh,
down with
dude,
that concept.
it is freaking amazing because it's the first book that starts going into someone's hunting the predators. She figures out how they operate, their hunting seasons, their patterns, what planets they're going to. And this is the other cool part because we're starting to see other planets that the predators have been hunting on. So we're really good right there. So I really did enjoy this series for where it's going and what it's doing. The artwork is your pretty basic artwork. It's nothing to be it's not
It's a
going to
licensed
jump off.
book.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's good artwork and I love it.
Yeah.
And it shows what it needs to show. It does its job. But it's not going to make it's. I'm not going to go out and make a blow up poster of it. Okay.
Real quick, let me ask. Considering you've read the Dark Horse run,
I've
obviously,
read the Dark Horse run. Oh yeah.
I have my omnibus with Race War in the back.
Race
How
Wars.
as a Marvel book, because it's a main Marvel book, how violent is it compared to like the movies and in terms the old Dark Horse books?
Okay, so I will say that the violence is turned down a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not super crazy. The first publication of the Predator books that they did, I believe it was Predator to the Hunt, and those are still in the Dark Horse ones, were a lot
Mm-hmm.
grittier.
Yeah.
Um, this one seems to not be they don't shy away from the fact that it's a Predator book. We are pushing that R rating. They don't shy away from that, but they also don't show the clean I'm gonna gouge your eye out and part of the brain comes with it, and
Mm-hmm.
then they eat the eyeball. They don't, stuff
Is it
like
just
that.
like blood off panel kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of the
Okay.
slash, and then
Mm-hmm.
it shows the blood on the wall. So take
Yeah.
it for what you want. But
Okay.
they do a good job because they still in the essence show what the Predator's doing. You get the bodies hanging, you get the heads ripped off. Everything is the right way that it has to go. So it's just really good, really solid. The only thing I have to say is my drawback on it is the story seems a bit slow at sometimes because you're following the girl who's hunting the predators, and for the most part sometimes she doesn't track her target, so you're spending an entire book of her trying to get on her feet and figure it out. And the fact that this is only a 6-book run, because either this arc is ending because we are on issue 5, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and the next issue is to be concluded. So with that being said, I don't know if the series is a 1 of 6 run or if we're gonna see more of this later on, and this is to be concluded as the arc is going to be concluded. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to find out. Again, if you're not buying the book, then they can't keep printing it. So that's where we're at. I really hope they keep going with this because I love the concept of someone taking the fight to the Predators using their own gear. This was done in the Dark Horse books as well.
Yeah.
In the last run that they just did, because like the company was getting together people, and they were using the Predators tech against the Predators to track them and hunt them and kill them. So again, it's a great concept, great read if you're a Predator fan. You can't pass this up. I definitely put this at like a 6 out of 5, 6 out of 10. Sorry, because just overall the writing's not bad, but there are some points where it's just I want to see more of the Predators kill each other. Like you said, Chris, we grew up on the Dark Horse, on the books where like with Machiko and the Predators versus the Alien, like Predator versus Alien series.
Yeah, remember those? There's some absolute fantastic Predator books in that Dark Horse run. I do recommend, if you can, find Race War. It takes place in a prison. It's awesome.
It's awesome. So with that being said, I will say if you want to spend the money, go grab them. I love the covers to these books too. So they're really great. Each cover is really what sells you on the books. But if you want, save yourself the money. Wait till issue 6 concludes. Go pick up the trade paperback.
Man, I'm just waiting for them to finally pull the trigger on the eventual crossovers that they know they're going to milk. I want my Wolverine versus Predator already, goddammit.
Oh, well, I mean, we did get the variant covers.
That's not enough. That's not enough, damn it. That's not enough. I would need the actual story. And I need Punisher versus Punisher versus Predator too.
Oh my god, dude! Talk about like the ultimate fight. That would be a great one. I really thought that was the direction they were going to go in when they did the crossovers. Like I thought that was going to be coming. Like the Predators just land in the Marvel universe and start like busting ass. And I mean, maybe it'll still happen, but it still remains to be seen.
I'm still waiting on my Ultraman Avengers crossover book to come out. They announced that over a year ago.
That is going to be interesting. I would actually enjoy reading that one. So on to our next book. Now, Chris, you remember a book that came out a while back? It's called Secret Invasion. Remember that one?
Yeah, that's where things started taking a turn in the Marvel miniseries events.
Did you enjoy it?
I'm mixed on it, especially in hindsight. Yeah.
Okay. Well, to me, Secret Invasion was one of the last good books before they started like jumping the shark at the ending. I think
that's where we got. No, that led into the Asgard, the fall of Asgard thing.
The hammers, remember?
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that one because I hated that one. But also, so anyway, Secret Invasion, I always thought was a great book. I loved it. For what it was. I loved all the like different spin-off books that they did for Secret Invasion. But in this one, hands down, I have to say Secret Invasion 2. And they're just calling it Secret Invasion. So you have to go, use a little bit of common sense, a little bit of knowledge.
Because why not?
Because but Secret Invasion, they're on issue 2. I read issue 1, but we weren't starting the show yet, and I wasn't sure I wanted to jump in with this one. Issue 2, let me tell you something, man. This thing is picking up right where the last one would have left off. So, what do you think is happening?
More Skrulls are scrawling, and the fact that this feels like the show was supposed to be out by now, and it got pushed back a year, so they're just saying F it and putting this thing out.
Yep, exactly. It's a cash buy-in for the that like we need to remind everybody why Nick Fury is viable. We need to remind you that this was a thing, and that's exactly what Marvel did here. They released Secret Invasion, and because the series is coming.
Yeah, I know.
So
and there's no reason, like, just no one's buying the books that the shows and the movies are based off of. That's been proven time and time again. So this idea of doing the corporate synergy bullshit is just like, just stop, just do your own thing at this point. Who gives a crap?
Right.
Most of the people watching the movies aren't even reading the books, so let's
Well,
not even bother.
so here's the thing. I thought the same thing. So I picked these up because I'm like, you know what? I want to read them. I want to see what they're doing. If they're going to tie these in to the show, and they're not. These are very, very different. It is the scrolls up to their same old antics. And I mean, come on, dude, they can shapeshift. What do you think is going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they are awesome.
Well,
Because
who's the big character that they revealed has been a scroll for a while now?
Okay, so we're 2 issues in, and the first one, I don't want to spoil it, but go read the first issue, and his name ends with you know, a little bit of eerie.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All
And
right.
then so then we jump into issue 2, and I'm not gonna spoil it, right? So like Maria Hill is kicking ass in this book. She is no nonsense, get in your fucking face. Legit like taking the reins, because you know Shield's dissolved, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's working with, you know, the CIA or the FBI, whatever the branch of the government she's working in, and she
Mm-hmm.
is just kicking ass, dude. And so we find out in the first issue that Fury went to go investigate because somebody died and turned into a scroll, or was believed to turn into a scroll. You don't know. No one knows. So the end of the first book is a great spoiler, and it shows that bond between Maria Hill and Nick Fury that like everyone's always suspected is super good.
Mm-hmm.
Because like there's a catchphrase, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, about that," and then just action after that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really good. I don't know if it's expanding, but going into issue 2, right, and that's where I want to focus, because you should read issue 1, but issue 2 really popped out to me a little bit more, because first of all, you have a awesome fight scene, right? And I'm gonna leave I'll put a picture of that up, but an awesome fight scene of who they reveal to be the scroll. And then they find out a new way to detect them, because the at the end of the first series, do you remember how we found out how they did it, Chris?
I was Doom that came up with something. If I remember, it's been a
Okay,
dog. That
so
book is 10 years old at this point.
okay, so you're thinking of Avengers: Earth Mightiest Heroes.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
So how did they? I forgot.
So
It's
Doom
been
came
10
up
years,
with
man.
it in Earth's Mightiest Heroes, only because they couldn't get the whole Fantastic Four.
Was it Norman that came up with it?
No, it was Reed Richards.
Oh, okay.
There's Reed Richards in the original, but in Earth's Mightiest Heroes, great episode, because they actually did the Secret Invasion, which was awesome. But if you ever want to go check that out, it's on Disney Plus. You can go watch it. I recently watched that like right when I subscribed.
The better version of Secret Invasion, in my opinion, too.
Yeah, but it was Doom who's like, "Oh, I figured it out. I knew all along."
Yeah.
So that being said, Reed Richards figured it out, but this no longer works because now the Skrulls have had time to adapt to that and figure out that they're going to have a little bit of a time to adapt against that. So they figured out, but Maria Hill figures out how to figure it out. She's like, "No, I countered the counter that you guys were countering, and I made it work for us."
She's a dude playing another dude who thinks he's another dude.
Yeah, but only if you're a dude like me, dude. So we cut to all of that. She asked all the heroes to pretty much take a blood test.
Mm-hmm.
We have to.
So we're pulling the thing. We're doing the thing now.
We're doing the thing. Like I had instant thing vibes, right?
Yeah.
I was like, rah! Right. So it's really cool. She does the blood test. Everybody seems to pass except like we get this awesome scene where the person that doesn't, and amazing. Maria Hill, I'm going to spoil this, okay? She walks in and she's like, "I've got a counter," and I'm going to leave it right here. I've got a counter for every single one of you. And she's like, "I got a counter for Cap. I've got a counter for Tony. I've got a counter for Thor. I've got and there's all these like military guards just like gung ho."
So
right?
she's Tower of Babel to the Avengers.
Exactly. Except here's what's fucking hilarious, right? And like I said, you gotta like reading the panel made me like I'm sitting here reading at night, right? And I just kind of had this shit-eating grin on my face because I
Mhm.
loved it. Because she goes, she points to Carol and she points to Squirrel Girl, and she goes, "You two, I don't have a countermeasure for, so you're gonna have to be on the honor system." Like, I understand maybe Carol Danvers, right? Because everybody's riding the ass.
Yeah,
But Squirrel Girl, is she really that
I know.
powerful, Chris?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's a bunch of weaves that took to her, and then they tried to get the AT&T girl to play her in like the new Warriors thing, and
I thought it
it
was
all
Anna
fell
Kendrick
apart.
they wanted to do it.
She wanted to do it, but they actually got the AT&T girl for that pilot that never aired. There's like pictures of her in like her Squirrel Girl outfit, and you're like, I don't want to watch this, but I'm going to have to.
Yeah. So we look at that, and it's a funny scene. Then we're cut to that. But I mean, Maria Hill is just a fucking awesome in this issue 2 of this, so it's definitely worth it. Yeah. So go pick it up.
I always like Maria Hill. Maria Hill's always been like, again, she's Marvel's answer to these cabinet, task force. What am I blanking on?
Amanda Waller.
Amanda Waller. Thank
Amanda
you.
Waller,
They kind of made her like a less treacherous Amanda Waller.
Definitely, because like if Nick Fury was the one who was like deceitful and all that, then Maria Hill was his like, yeah, I'll you're expendable.
Yeah.
So definitely check it out. I gave this guy an 8 out of 10. Believe it or not. That's why I said you'll be surprised, because I didn't think I was gonna like it, because I thought it was like just cash in. No.
Yeah.
This is going somewhere I didn't think it was going to go, and both issues have blown me away so far. So I'm kind of combining issue 1 and issue 2 here into one segment. So I'm giving the book an 8 out of 10 based off both issues. Issue 3, 4, and etc. could go either way. I will let you know. I'll keep you posted as I keep reading. All right. So, and the last one I want to talk in, this, before we get to our final book of the day, this is going to be one that caught me out of left field, and I really wasn't going to do it. And this is something that just came out. It's on shelves. You can go pick it up. Thanos Death Notes. A Thanos book. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Thanos because his whole stick has always been like,
he's horny for death.
Ever since the movie. That's all he's known for.
Oh, did they change? Yeah, no. I prefer horny for death Thanos.
Hang on. This is why I'm going to get to this, okay?
All right.
So, if everybody writes Thanos' jock, I mean, I play Marvel Snap right now, and even his gig in that is the Snap. Like, like I get away from it, man. I get it. He was great in the movies, but he's known for so much more, and that's the thing I didn't like in the movie. Thanos is a fucking badass. I mean, this dude, he isn't called the Mad Titan for nothing. This dude single-handedly, before he had the Infinite Gauntlet, killed everyone on his planet.
Yeah. Which is Titan. Yeah. That's why he's mad. That's how you got the name.
But like Chris said, and I'll let Chris elaborate a little bit here, the thing with Thanos is, in the past, what has he always had?
He's horny for death.
So,
because death in the Marvel Universe is personified as a woman, and he was in love with death, and thus he was always trying to court her, and by courting her, he felt he needed to give her... Essentially, Thanos was giving her the biggest bouquet of roses and the biggest box of chocolates by obtaining the Infinity Gauntlet and all the Infinity Gems and wiping out half the universe. Not to bring balance, not environmental Thanos that we got in the movie, but because he, in his madness, he is in love with the personification of death.
Okay, so here's what's going to piss you off a little bit. Ready? Right? It's going to make you, it makes you a little happy. So Thor goes investigating, because I need to do some research into this, because, you know, as we restarted the show, I haven't followed Thanos' career path of destruction. So he's disappeared from the Marvel Universe for a time being. Thor is tracking him down because Thor had a vision. Okay. One of the new things about Thor, if you guys aren't reading that, is Odin is now his hammer. I don't know if you knew that.
I kind of knew that, yeah.
Okay. So he shows up on Titan.
Yeah.
And who's there but to greet him? But Death.
Lady Death?
Lady Death.
All right.
Not Lady
That's
Death.
what it should be.
Not Lady
Yeah,
Death.
yeah,
Because you know which one I'm
yeah, yeah.
but Death.
Girl Death.
So
Yeah,
she's there. And
yeah.
she goes like, "Oh, you're looking, like." So here's one of the things we get like a little bit of glimpse into Thanos' past, and for those who don't know it, this is a great book to kind of get into it. And so Death has asked Thanos for a favor, and Thanos comes to her doorstep, the Tower of Death on a planet that no one can get to except unless she wills it, right?
Yeah.
So we get this really cool scene of Thanos and Death in this embrace, which is funny because this is what like he's known for years, like you said, right? He's known for wanting this. We go into her explanation of what she wants, but we meet Thanos' first love, which is really like what caught me off guard because I don't know much about the Thanos mythos or the character himself.
Yeah, he had a girl and everything before he became like Mad Titan.
Right. And so turns out as you read, you find out she sacrifices herself to save him. And this is what drives him to do what he does. So the thing, we cut back to Earth, and Tony Stark has an android created by Thanos, which I didn't even know was a fucking thing, right? Apparently it was, and the android explains to Tony that, hey, this is the future, and you're living in a timeline that Thanos has already ruled. He is your god. You just don't know it. So you have to read the revelation for itself, and it's really good. There are some great freaking things in this book that just blew me away. And I was sitting at breakfast this morning as I was rereading it over, and I even had like a fucking grin on my face, and I was laughing at one point because there's a point where Thanos walks into a bar. He wants some information. He's looking for Nebula, and the bartender's like, "No, I'm not gonna fucking give it to you." And then these guys show up outside. They're like, "Hey, we want Thanos. You're gonna pay for the death of the billions of people." And then Thanos sitting there like an asshole, right? It just cuts to a panel, and it says like attempted murder because they stopped it, right? It got reversed.
Yeah.
So like the way Thanos sees it is he didn't kill everybody. It was attempted. So like, he walks out of the bar, smashes all these fools that are supposed to be invisible, walks back into the bar, and he's like, "Now where was I?" We wrap up with Thor. You're gonna have to find out the rest in Thor issue 29, which is currently also out right now, so you can go check that out. But I did not review that book. So with that being said, if you're not a fan of Thanos and you're not looking at that stuff, we're gonna be looking at a 6 out of 10 for this one, because if you don't like Thanos, you're not gonna like this book. The artwork and the writing were phenomenal in this stuff, because I really loved that we got an insight into Thanos' head, and they really did cash in on, like you said, the old school Thanos, where he's back to
horny for death.
And
horny for death.
Where I said you're gonna hate this is
horny for death.
The question that Death wants is she wants him to bring balance.
Yeah, no.
So I'm a little disappointed, and this is
corporate synergy at its best. I kind of want them to revisit. There was a storyline years ago when they really started fleshing out Deadpool. He fell in love with Death, but she was annoyed by him. Like, she could not stand him, but he was like a little puppy dog in love with her.
Yeah,
and that's why they explain like his death wish, because he essentially can't die because of his healing factor.
Yeah, I remember that. I didn't read too much into it, but like, wasn't it the whole thing like Thanos got jealous over Deadpool for a while?
Yeah,
and then just attempted
to
just beat the crap out of him too, right?
I believe so. It's been years. Yeah. That was like 25 years ago when that storyline was. But I remember reading. I remember kind of like peeping that, and I was like, "Yeah, that's an interesting idea." Like, she just can't stand. Like, she's got Thanos where she'll give him the time of day, but Deadpool is like. It's like that episode of the Batman with the Creeper. When the Creeper falls in love with Harley Quinn. Yeah.
That was a good episode.
It was fantastic.
Very underrated episode. The comic did it a lot more justice, but took it to an extremely more creepy level. So
yeah.
All right. So that's gonna wrap it up for my end. And I'm gonna let Chris take the reins on this last book. And of course, Chris, you would be reading the book we talked about last week, and I think this is just, for me, it was great. I loved it. I loved every second of it. But let's, what do you got?
So we had Dark Web 1, or Dark Web Dusk, as it's the launch book.
Right.
I got the Peach Makoto variant cover. So it's
Okay.
Madeline on it. It's very nice.
I'll link a picture to that.
We finally launching into the story. It's gaining some footing. So we get what is essentially like the first lap of the grand plan of Ben Reilly and Madeline Pryor. So, of course, Madeline's using Ben for her own means because she's made a deal with Krakoa that, you know, they're like, here, again, we'll give you Limbo and all the demons you can have, and yet we think this is fine. It's like,
it's a bad idea.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So essentially, it goes into things. The gist of the book is they're introducing elements that feel a little disjointed. I'm assuming because there's 9 more books that they're going to tie this into, which I'm
9?
shocked it's not just one.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's
right.
Because it's like 2 X-Men books, 2 Spider-Man books, and like 3 other spin-offs.
I'll have I'll have our editor put a link to each book in there.
But we're getting underway with it. So they're referencing Inferno, which was a fantastic X-Factor X-Men line.
I did like that, yeah.
We finally got Scott, Jean. It looks like the core team of X-Men that are going to be involved, which was Bobby and Havoc and of course Magic and Jean and Scott. Spider-Man has not crossed paths with them yet. The one interesting thing is that, again, I've been a little out of Spider-Man. I've been kind of keeping up via like online like summaries and stuff, but now that Norman has turned good and he's the Golden Glider now, and Harry was a clone and he died, and Norman's feeling repentive. But we're going all the way back to the end of the clones. We're going back to the end of the Clone Saga. The end of the Clone Saga. 1997, we're going back. So that Ben can get his revenge on Norman. And I'm like, that is a deep pull. You guys are asking a lot for people who, by the way, were probably not alive when this book, when that book came out.
There's a few kids that I was talking to, and I was telling them we were doing this episode on the show. A couple of my coworkers, and they're just like, dude, I don't even remember that.
Because no one does. That's the dark times of Marvel right there.
Yeah. Zeb Wells pulling it.
Yeah, deep cuts. Like for someone like me who was there, I'm like, wow, you are really going back. Like, because again, the spoilers for a 25-year-old story, Norman was behind the entire Clone Saga. Because it just went out of control, and they had to do something. So yeah, yes, he was.
If you're surprised by that after 27 years, like that's your fault.
So Ben's pissed. Madeline is she's got to break into some New York Krakoa facility, and so her and Ben have a contingency plan, which is Venom. For some reason, because I thought Venom just had this big heroic turn coming out of the Null storyline.
So he did. I need to go look into what's going on in Venom, in the new run of Venom. But apparently his son went missing.
Which is also Zeb Wells, right?
Yes. I believe so. I don't know who's doing the current Venom run. It was whoever was doing the Hulk run.
Okay.
Because him and Kate switched.
Yeah.
So
I know. So apparently his son's missing.
Yep.
Is he still king of the symbiotes?
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not reading Venom currently. I have to get caught up on that. For a
so
comic book show, I'm doing really bad right now, guys.
Yeah, I know. But therein lies the problem. Like coming off Null, and they kind of make mention that Madeline and Ben have been like poking Venom a little bit, but when you get to that, there's a last panel. Venom just goes like he's not going with the plan that Madeline and Ben have, because now he wants Spider-Man. He wants to eat his brains. I'm just like, really? We're doing this again?
You didn't like that?
For the 240th time? It's like,
I loved it.
He just literally defeated the original evil of the universe. He defeated, it was like one of the last, modestly decent Marvel storylines that they did. And now it's like, back to the start. I'm like,
It kind of
You
feels
could
like that's
do
what they're
more.
doing with this. Like they're giving a lot of the readers from the '90s. This is where it's
Yeah,
geared towards, and I
I
like
know.
it
And like
personally.
I'm well, I mean, they're already alluding to the return of Red Goblin in it. Um, this was a lot of like this was groundwork being set up more so than the last week's issue of Amazing Spider-Man. This was like, okay, we got to set the floor. Here's the stage. Here are the players thus far, and there we go. It's a lot of there's a lot of bivouacking going on in this,
Oh
just between Norman and I mean, there was a nice moment between. I'm kind of down with Norman being a hero for once, like moving away from the Goblin
yeah,
persona
yeah,
and whatnot. But Ben beating the crap out of him was like, okay, but it's the push of him being in the parlance of pro wrestling. This is a very bad heel turn, as we would call it. This is like you're really reaching. This is Austin post WrestleMania 17. Like you're going to be the bad guy.
yeah.
Well, what's my motivation? I am just the bad guy now, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of following along, but at the same time, I'm like, this is there's some rough patches. The waves are rough.
I
So
think there were a couple of scenes in the book that I really did enjoy, like Madeline playing the piano, circa fucking Davy Jones from Pirates of the
that's
Caribbean,
great.
was friggin' amazing.
I'll say this: the banter between Madeline and Ben is actually great.
Yeah,
I love the relationship these two have.
yeah,
This is actually the main thing I was looking forward to in the book is the back and forth between, and they kind of there's a little bit of like almost a cartooniness to it, and I'm really digging that.
yeah. And I love that, like how tell me if I'm pronouncing this right. Is it Chisholm?
Schism, yeah.
Schism. Okay, so
No, it's chasm. It's chasm.
Okay, chasm.
Yeah, yeah,
I kept reading it and I'm like, I can't fucking pronounce this
yeah.
word. Chasm. I love the fact that when he's fighting Norman, how he gets the upper
Mhm.
hand and explains how he got the upper hand.
Yeah,
He's
he
like,
poses
by the
Peter.
way,
And,
I've done this. Like, by the way, I knew
yeah,
you were doing this. So, really great. And I love the banter between Iceman and Havoc,
hmm
because I need to look in to see what the relationship between Havoc and Maddie was, because I don't know what it was. Do you?
which is always I don't remember. This had to have been a while
Like, was she
ago.
banging him to get
Man,
mad at Scott, or what was going on here?
I don't know, man. There was a while where it became Days of Our Lives with the mutants especially when Scott started hooking up with Emma, and then I think I don't remember when Havoc was hooking up with Madeline. I'm just
Okay.
like, man, that is
Because like I love the banter there, where it's
how many people are
Iceman and
Eskimo
Havoc,
brothers
and
in
they're like,
in this group?
yeah, and it's like, hey, any idea? You don't think this has anything to do with your girlfriend? He's like, I don't know, I haven't talked to her in a while. Are you sure? Because it kind of seems like this is her alley. So I really did like the banter that they're going with, and it's interesting to see where Magic's going to come into play with this.
Yeah,
Because
because she was the one that pushed for Madeline to leave
take
them,
over,
so.
yeah, to take over that.
So
The end
next
moment,
week I think is
yeah. Go ahead.
next week Spider-Man. So we're getting into it. So we're getting there. Yeah, the final thing with Venom, I'm like, okay,
I
we're going
enjoyed
here
it.
again. All
I
right.
love the fact that, like, to see Venom truly unleashed as like true chaos like he was before. I think it's going to be freaking hilarious, and it's going to be great to see how Spidey deals with it. It's going to be interesting for me. I really enjoyed the book, and I wanted you to take the reins on this because I did read it too, and it was definitely one of
Yeah.
my picks for this week. And
As we get deeper, I'm going to have a lot more to say.
So we will definitely get back to this because we're going to be following it. However, I will leave a link to the book up here and to all the side stuff. I'll leave it up there. You guys can check that out, and then you pick up as needed. But I gave this guy, if I had to rate it, Chris, this to me was an 8 out of 10 due to the callbacks, due to the I love the banter between, like you said, the banter between Chisholm and Maddie, between him and Hollow, the fight between him and Norman, everything, just like the closure, like you said, the 27-year closure, right? 27 years in the making.
Yeah, roughly.
And then Venom going back to his natural, like the original concept of Venom. I loved it. I gave this an 8 out of 10.
All right.
What do you think?
I'm sitting at a solid 6. I'm not hating this book. There are ideas, but again, Zeb Wells. You are dipping into sacred territory for me.
And I think
most other people would not call it sacred territory, but it is sacred territory for this person right here.
And that's why I gotta say, like, Zeb Wells is doing it, and that's why I'm giving it my rating. But that is it today, guys. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you're gonna buy any of these books this week, these are the ones that we recommend. So go out there, save your, let's see, $5, $25, $30 worth of books this week is what we're talking about. So as always, guys, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let us know what you guys like down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what we're doing, and you can also follow us on Twitter at Unchained Comics. You can follow me over on Comics Unchained 1 over on TikTok, and you can follow Chris and listen to his podcast over at the
Kaiju Kingdom podcast.
Yeah, yes. Enjoy that.
You can follow us on Twitter at the Kaiju Kingdom, Facebook.com/the Kaiju Kingdom podcast, and Instagram at the Kaiju Kingdom podcast. We do not have a TikTok because I do not believe in such things.
I've been enjoying TikTok, and if you guys have been following me on TikTok, you are seeing some of the books that I'm reading throughout the week. And it's a lot of other books, and I'll be posting some shorts on there shortly. I'm working on getting some more content up and doing a couple of YouTube shorts as well. So let me know if you guys are interested in that on books we didn't have time to talk about in the episode. So with that being said, we are going to wrap up for the day. I've been Serg, that's been Chris, and as always, guys, keep on reading.